The Himalayan Institute is about a 3-hour drive north. Their way of practicing yoga focuses a little bit more on meditation or the history of yoga, the study of the Yoga Sutras. So when we select to have a retreat with them, we get to select the subject matter. We have them teach us from what they know for 3 different sessions of our time together. So what we've got selected for September might be something many of you are interested in. It's not really something that we cover here in our style of yoga quite so readily. And so it's a focus on the Yoga Sutras, the 8 limbs of yoga, some of those more classical and historical parts of the yoga practice. So if that's something you have a deeper interest in, that might be the perfect event for you. Generally speaking, a pretty affordable trip in comparison to our international trips. Watch for information about that coming up soon. It's September 15th, 16th, 17th, and 18th. So look for that. All right, let's get started. Welcome to people who are new to our studio and our practice. Let's begin in child's pose. Toes together, knees open. Come on in, there's lots of space up here. You can fill in anywhere up here. Arms forward and bring your forehead down to your mat. First thing to do is just to observe your breath. Nothing about your breath at first. Just create slow, steady. Just go ahead and slide them right into those boxes. Slow, steady, deep, and rhythmic. And then it can be helpful to begin creating an ujjayi breath by doing a few sighs to open up the back of your throat. So as you're ready, take a deep breath in, open up your mouth and sigh, and let the breath just feel whole in the hollowness of your mouth and throat. And then inhale and exhale, but keep your mouth closed, breathing in and out of your nostrils, but feeling the stirring sensation in the back of your throat that you felt when you sighed. This breath is called an ujjayi breath. It builds a heat in your body, and it will take something to create it. It's not the breath you came into the room with. So for the first about 10 minutes, and then as a reminder throughout, you'll want to keep your attention on building the breath and everything else secondary. Now we'll match movement to the breath. On your next inhale, bring your body up into downward facing dog. So it's a pose shaped like an upside down letter V. Now practice this. As you're inhaling and exhaling, bend and straighten your knees, lengthen the pose, widen the pose. Start to bring on board the foundation of the pose, your hands, your feet, and your core. Do that by, as you're breathing, squeezing your fingertips to the mat, shifting the weight out in your hands and in your feet, or pressing down into your mat and experiencing the opposite, the lift up in the pit of your belly. Now, while you're hanging here, breathe. Breathe and listen for your own breathing. Breathe and listen for the sound of breath in the room, from home, us to home, and connect through your breath. Take one more breath in, exhale, look forward, and step up to the front of your mat. Once you get there, lift up halfway and give yourself a stretch from tail to crown of your head, all the way long up through the sides of your ribs. And then with an exhale, hang down to the ground. You might like to sway from side to side, but do it all to the rhythm of your breath. Look at the foundation, your feet, and set them wide enough to feel very sturdy and secure. Line your feet up so that your heels are right behind your baby toes, different from your toes turning out. Take a few breaths here. Listen for the breathing in the room. Then press your feet down into the mat. You might then experience a lifting in your arches and in the pit of your belly. One more breath, press down. And then on the inhale, come all the way up to standing. Look up to the ceiling. Reach up to the ceiling. Stretch up and maybe back. Then bring your hands into prayer position at the center of your chest. Set your gaze on one point that's still in the room. Create an intention for the practice this morning. And then a breathing exercise to stretch out the capacity of our breath. 3 times we'll chant Om together. So feel free to make a lot of sound and stretch out your exhales. Take a deep breath in. You're going to have to lead this for me. One more inhale. Inhale, reach up. Fold to the floor as you exhale. Inhale, lift up halfway. High plank to low plank the whole time. Exhale. Then inhale, lift your chest, straighten your arms. Exhale, downward facing dog. Take 3 breaths here. While you're in downward facing dog, it's a chance to lengthen your spine and to rest. One more time, breathe in. On the exhale, bend your knees, look forward, step or jump up to your hands. Then inhale, lift up halfway and fold down. Press your feet into the floor, stand up, look up. This is extended mountain pose. Fold to the floor. Inhale, lift up halfway, low plank as you exhale. Upward facing dog, breathe in. Downward facing dog, breathe out. Now 3 breaths here. Work with the people around you breathing. 2 more, inhale, exhale. Here's the last one, breathe in. On the exhale, bend your knees, jump to your hands. Halfway lift, fold. Inhale, stand up, reach for the ceiling, look up. Fold to the floor as you exhale. Inhale, lift up halfway, step or jump to the low plank. Upward facing dog, downward facing dog, and breathe. Inhale, steady exhale. 2 more, breathe in, long breath out. Last time, inhale, exhale, bend your knees, look forward, jump. Halfway lift, fold. Stand up, reach high, look high, stretch back, fold to the floor. Halfway lift, low plank. Upward facing dog, downward facing dog. Breathe here. Now, if your wrists are hurting, open your hands wider. Point your middle or pointer finger forward. And then spread your fingers wide and squeeze the mat. Last thing, put the weight in the thumb side of your hand. Then one more time, inhale. Exhale, bend your knees, jump. Halfway lift, forward fold. Chair pose, sit into your heels, reach high, fold to the floor. Halfway lift, low plank. Upward facing dog, downward facing dog. Step your right foot forward and lunge. Press the back edge of your back foot down as you reach up. Hands to the floor, low plank. Upward facing dog, downward facing dog. Step your left foot forward and lunge. Inhale, reach up. Hands to the floor, low plank. Upward facing dog, downward facing dog, and breathe. Work with however your body is showing up today. It's exactly the way it's meant to be. Take 1 more breath in. On the exhale, bend your knees, jump to your hands. Halfway lift, forward fold. Chair pose, bend your knees, sit deep and reach your arms high. Fold to the floor. Halfway lift, drop to the low plank. Upward facing dog, shoulders go back. Downward facing dog, step your right foot forward. Take a deep lunge, stretch. Hands to the floor, chaturanga. Upward facing dog, downward facing dog, left foot forward. Press the back edge of your back foot. Hands to the floor, chaturanga. Upward facing dog, downward facing dog, and breathe. Can be very helpful to take a sigh and just clean the slate. 1 more time, inhale. Exhale, bend your knees, jump. Halfway lift, fold. Chair pose, sit and reach, fold for the floor. Halfway lift, low plank. Upward facing dog, inhale, downward facing dog, right foot forward and lunge. Reach up and look up, hands to the floor, slow, steady, empty. Upward facing dog, downward facing dog, left foot step. Inhale, lift the pit of your belly and look up. Hands down, chaturanga. Upward facing dog, downward facing dog. Now, while you're breathing here, on purpose, set the gaze at the back center of your mat. Just open your eyes, see what you see, and let your attention settle in one place. Take one more breath in. On the exhale, bend your knees and jump. Halfway lift, forward fold. Now one more time, chair pose, sit back and reach high. Fold to the floor. Halfway lift, drop to the low plank. Upward facing dog, downward facing dog. Step your right foot forward. From the back edge of your back foot up to your fingers, reach. Hands to the floor, chaturanga. Upward facing dog, downward facing dog, left foot step. Lift up, look up, reach, chaturanga. Upward facing dog, downward facing dog. Clear your space. Now raise your right leg into the air, bend your knee, heel to your hip, and flip the pose over. 2 feet to the floor, keep your breath flowing. Anchor your feet down, reach up and overhead and maybe all the way over into a wheel pose. Then breathe and let your whole body open and soften with your inhales and exhales. One more breath. Side plank, right hand to the mat, turn to face the long left side of your mat and stack your body up. Customize your practice with all of the variations available. You are permitted to look around the room and see some opportunities. You might lift your top leg or hug your bottom leg's knee into your chest or bring that knee to the floor. 3 more breaths here. 2 more. There's 1 more, then high plank to low plank. Upward facing dog, downward facing dog. Left leg into the air. Bend your knee, heel to your hip, and flip it over. So if we do consider that what we're doing is a breathing exercise, we're challenging it with the heart rate rising, the body shapes we're making, and yet attention still on slow, steady, deep, and rhythmic. Yeah, it'll quicken a little bit, but space, lengthen the exhale, space in the pauses. 1 more breath. Side plank, left hand to the mat, turn to face the long right side of your mat and stack your body up. Now challenge yourself. Maybe the challenge is shoulders to your ears and to your back. Pull your arms apart from thumb through chest to thumb. Then 1 more breath to look up and let your body be light. High plank to low. Upward facing dog, downward facing dog. Take 1 breath in, open your mouth, stick your tongue out and sigh. Step your left foot forward, crescent lunge. Arms up and overhead. Steady breathing. Then lift the pit of your belly all the way up to your chin and fingers. Look up and stretch. Hands to prayer position and twist right elbow to your left knee. Bring your steady breathing. If you could imagine your back heel like it's the end of a string being pulled back, and then up through your spine to the crown of your head is the other end. Pull your whole body long by activating your back leg and the pit of your belly. Stretch long. 2 steady breaths. Last one. Then inhale, crescent lunge. Open to warrior 2. Face the long right side of your mat. Big lunge. Keep your breath flowing. Set your drishti on your front hands, fingers, or just beyond. And then feel what you feel in the pose. Lunge down deep enough until you feel your back leg active in the pose. Stretch your arms apart and tilt for extended side angle. Steady breathing here. Press your back foot deep into the mat, the back edge of your back foot, so strong into your mat. So strong that your body is inspired, equal and opposite, to have both hands reaching forward away from your back foot on the floor. Breathe and reach and turn your chest to the ceiling. That's it. One more breath. High plank to low plank. Upward facing dog. Downward facing dog. Other foot forward. This will be your right foot forward. Arms overhead. Steady your body by squaring your hips to the front of the room. You might find the ability to square your hips in your back foot. For many of us, the weight shifts over into our big toe. Bring even the knuckles of your baby toe on the floor and then lift up. There's an opportunity in this pose to have this deep stretching from the inside of your back ankle all the way up the front of your body to your fingertips and chin. Create that stretch for yourself. Then hands to prayer and twist. Left elbow to your right knee. Anchor your elbow there. Fire up your back leg and the low pit of your belly, the area in the front of your pelvis. Hug it into your body. And as you're breathing, bring that hugged in low pelvis up to your chin. Right in the front of your pelvis, just hug it in. With all of the foundation set, open up your arms, breathe, open up your shoulders. Let there be a softness for 2 more breaths. You got 1 more. Crescent lunge, reach up. Turn to the left, warrior 2. Steady breathing the whole time. As I look around the room, I see an opportunity for a lot of you in your back foot to put weight in your back big toe, to pick up your heel and swing your heel more back to the back of your mat, and then lunge deep. You'll feel it more in your back leg. Stretch your arms, Jordan, go longer, and then tilt. Reach for the floor and reach for the ceiling. Deep, deep lunge. We're looking to create length on the underside of your torso. So thigh bone of your front bent leg, suck it back into your pelvis, and then reach your ribs long up into your armpit. Stretch long. Press your back foot down and continue the stretch long. Reach your bottom arm. You got it from the back foot to your bottom arm. Keep lengthening this underside of your body. That's it, Suzette. And turn. Deep, deep lunge. 2 more breaths. Chest turning. Last breath. Nice. Hands to the floor. Chaturanga. Upward facing dog. Downward facing dog. Take 1 breath, 1 exhale, and move up to your hands. Halfway lift, forward fold, chair twist to the right. Sit back, hands to prayer, and twist. Keep your breath flowing. The more you sit back, reaching your hips back to the back edge of your mat, the easier you'll be able to get into this pose. Once you anchor your elbow to your knee, you may notice your right knee is behind your left knee. Pull your left thigh bone back and bring your right thigh bone forward. You got it. That'll level out your pelvis from the bird's eye view. And then just breathe into your back left ribs. You got it. Back left ribs opening as you breathe. Right through there. You got it. Keep on breathing. Sit deeper. 1 more breath. Chair pose. Reach up. Forward fold. Open your feet hip width distance and hook your big toes. Stretch your chest down toward your toes. You might like to shake your head out, shake your shoulders out, and then become aware of the weight in your feet. Shift it into your big toe, out to your baby toe, heel to toes, until you find what feels like a balance amongst all 4 of those points. Chair twist the other way. Sit back. So now you really know getting deep into your creases and sitting is really important. Hands to prayer, twist. Doesn't matter how far you turn. Doesn't matter that you can see behind you. In fact, keep your gaze more to the upper front left area of the room to where you're oriented. But sit deep and back. Right thigh back, left thigh forward, and then length through your back right ribs. You got it. Keep stretching and breathing. 3 more breaths into the back right ribs. Put your attention on your ribs. Finish the last breath. Chair pose, fold. Feet open for gorilla pose. Slide your palms under your feet. Get them as far under there as you can. Stand on your hands. And then continue your breathing. Continue holding your drishti to one point. But move your feet around on your palms. Wiggle your toes. Consider that you're massaging your hands, softening the muscles and opening up the bones of your hands. Preparing your hands for poses like a handstand or crow pose. This is your chance for your wrist and your hands to take their share of the practice. One more breath here. Crow pose or handstand at the front of your mat. Set your hands shoulder width distance. Point your middle finger or your pointer finger forward and squeeze the floor. Make a diamond shape with your legs. Put your knees near your armpits and tilt forward. You'll want to squeeze the mat with your fingertips. Then, if you're able, pick up your feet. If that's not a choice, take the pose seated. Make a diamond shape. Put your arms inside of your knees. For everyone, breathe. Every time you exhale, press away from you and feel your core lifting up under your ribs. You have 3 breaths to go. What you should know is this presses into a handstand maybe someday. 2 more breaths. Here's the last one from wherever you are. Chaturanga, chest forward. Upward facing dog, downward facing dog. Just 1 breath. On the exhale, look forward and jump. Halfway lift, fold. Press down, roll up and sweep your arms overhead. Right side eagle pose. Wrap your right arm under your left arm. Cross your arms. Cross your forearms, maybe palms together. Right arm goes under first. And then squat down. Right leg goes over the left. Maybe your toes tuck. You'll want to keep breathing. You'll want to keep your drishti set. And then the part of your foundation that's most at play here is actually your core. Draw your pit of the belly, the area at the front of your pelvis, into your body, like it's hugging the front of your bottom spine. And then up toward your chin. Inhale, step out. Left side, left arm under, left leg over. Left arm under. Yep, squat down. Steady breathing. If you were to feel dizzy, you could do this lying on your back. Then just listen to the sound of the breath. Long exhales. Inhale, step out. Hug your right knee into your chest. Eyes on one point, breath steady. Stay here or hold your right foot with your right hand and extend your knee. Standing leg raises. Steady breath. We'll keep your leg forward today. On your next exhale, ease your toes a little higher to the ceiling and adapt to that and breathe. 2 more breaths. Last one. Hug your knee into your chest. Open up your chest and shoulders, reach your arms out wide, then tilt for airplane pose. Steady breathing. Bring just the micro bend, the tiniest bit of softness to the back of your standing knee. You got it, Rob. Keep on breathing. Press the knuckle of your big toe down. Just bring a little more softness to the back. Yes. While you press the knuckle of your foot down into the mat, see if you can notice the pit of your belly lift. That's it, Angie. I see that. Now a little more upward facing dog in your chest. Keep it, hands to prayer. Half moon, left fingertips down, right fingertips to the ceiling. Set your gaze in a new place and breathe. Once you get here, orient yourself in the space. Stretch your arms, stretch your legs. Then draw the pit of your belly into your body. Again, hug the bottom front spine. You can bend your top knee and catch your top ankle if you'd like for sugarcane pose. And then whatever you've created, 3 more breaths. Steady breath. If you're the steady in your area of the room, keep the breath flowing. 1 more breath. Forward fold and just hang. Sway from side to side. Even maybe take a sigh here and just let go of the poses we've already done. Let go of the poses we might do and come into this moment right now and breathe. Then press your feet down, roll up to standing, and hug your left knee into your chest, left side standing leg raise. You can hold the outer edge of your foot or hold your big toe and extend your knee. Breathe, set your gaze, and let your body wrap itself around this new shape. This is sometimes a tricky one. So start putting in place all the things you know to do. As much as possible, stand tall. If you have joints that lock, soften them and use your muscles. You're like, come on, how many more things? Soften all of your skin. Leg a little higher and hug your knee into your chest. Airplane pose, open up. Open up. Just when you think, how could we do this pose any longer? It's not possible to hold it anymore. You always have one more breath. And then the next pose comes along, and that pose brings the resolution. It brings the resolve to the pose we've just done. Press your big toes down. Maybe let your left hip drop down a little bit. That's it, Angie, again. Chest up. Nice. Chest up. Hands to prayer. Half moon. Right hand down, left arm in the ceiling. You've got this. Keep breathing. You know, most of the time when I'm falling out of the pose, I've at least practiced enough now to realize, what am I doing? And I realize I'm thinking about, oh my gosh, I've been balancing for a long time. Just stay focused on your breath. You can bend your top knee and catch your top ankle. Now really fill the pose with breath. It's like fuel for the pose. Soft standing knee. One more. Forward fold and hang. Then come rolling up to standing. Sweep your arms overhead, standing bow pose. Drop your right arm back. So your shoulders moving back. Bend your knee. Hold your ankle from the inside. So shoulder goes back. Left arm in the air. That'll work. Stretch down with your foot and up with your hand. I'm going to help you switch this grip. And then start to tilt. Reach forward and back. It's all you have to do, from fingertips through shoulders to fingertips. Just reach. Make the maximum length and stretch that you can. Once you have that, keep it, but kick up and down. And just imagine you're encircled by a bubble, and all of you is reaching out to the edges of the bubble. So go to your edge, to the maximum for you in the pose. Go to that space. Stay there, work in that space for 5 breaths. You can do this. Stay there and work in that space. If one part of you gives up on it, the whole pose is going to go. Finish your last breath, then 2 feet to the floor, maybe hands on your hips, eyes on one point. Set your feet wide enough that you feel really sturdy. Left side. Reach back with your left hand so your arm rolls back. Bend your knee, hold your ankle from the inside. Yes. Arm rolls back. So instead of here, roll back a little further. See if you can hold the inside. It'll feel a little more stretchy in your shoulder. You got it. Just like that. Yeah, you got it. Sorry. Take it from here and hold here. Try that. Steady, eyes on one point. Steady breathing. Keep breathing. Stretch out into your edge in the pose. All the way to the edge. And now breathe. 5 breaths. Bring your left ribs forward. You got it. I'm going to try to catch you. Bring your left ribs forward. Stand into your big toe and just soften. Got just 2 more breaths. Okay, last one. And step out. Put your feet on the floor and your hands on your hips. You might even just notice how your whole system just starts to settle here. That pose is a lot of work in your body. Tree pose, left foot down, right foot up, hands to prayer position. And then tree pose, just press your palms together. Continue settling your system. This section is called equanimity because we're really bringing the heart rate up high, but we're doing it by standing and balancing. We're learning to maintain balance, but at a high level of activity. So keep your breath, keep your drishti. Switch sides, right foot down, left foot up. Steady breathing, just keep the breath flowing. This is one of those spots where you have to really be still committed to the breath, or it could just go away. So listen for yourself and listen for the room to be breathing. And then if you don't hear anything, you bring the breath. That's it. Keep that going. Just one more. Step to the front of your mat. Once you get there, inhale and sweep your arms overhead. Fold to the floor as you exhale. Lift up halfway. Drop into your low plank. Upward facing dog. Downward facing dog. Keep your hands on the ground. Step your right foot inside of your right hand. A long stride, back foot flat. Now press all four corners of your front foot into the mat. Maybe even raise your 5 toes in the air and breathe. While you're here, stretch your chest forward to the front of your mat. Breathe and make both sides of your body long. Keep them long, especially the right side. Your right hand can stay on the block or the floor. Stretch long, and then just turn, open up to the ceiling for triangle pose. If you don't feel anything in your front leg, some people don't, Rob, or in your back hip, open up the stance. Make it longer and keep breathing. If you don't feel anything, press the knuckle of your front foot's big toe down into the mat very purposefully. If still nothing, walk your right hand behind you 5 or 6 more inches. Keep breathing. Pit of your belly, super strong. It all comes from the pit of your belly. Drop your head back. Reach for the floor if you can. Look back. Strong belly. Breathe. Head goes back. Come on up to standing. Face the long left side of your mat. Feet parallel to the short sides. Hands on your hips. Lift up high and forward fold. Once you get into the fold, fingertip walk forward with your hands and keep your spider hands on the ground. And make sure it's just far enough that your weight's coming out of your heels. Then breathe in, and when you exhale, sink the weight back into your heels so you're standing in your feet. But create maximum tension from your fingertips to your hips. Now breathe. Let your breath do the work. Little bit by little bit, carving open space between every one of your ribs. If you feel nothing, create something. One more breath. Come on up to standing. Once you're standing tall, turn and face the front of your mat, standing single leg forward fold. Your feet should have width and some length to them. Front foot forward, back foot at any angle needed. Hands to your hips and lift up high. Maybe lift let's go with all 10. Lift all 10 toes in the air and then start to fold over your front leg. You'll just keep pulling your right hip back. Your right hip back. You should feel the center of your hamstring stretching and it radiating out to the ends. Keep on breathing. A little more weight into your front leg. That's it. That's the middle. And breathe. Yep. Nicole, shift some weight into your front leg and pull your right hip back. You should feel this in your hamstrings. Your hips and legs are set up exactly the way they need to be. Twisting triangle. Just put your left hand under your left shoulder on the block or floor. Keep your legs and stretch long through your spine and start to twist. You can let your shoulder roll open and then breathe and lengthen your back left ribs. Your right hip, instead of swinging to the side, needs to pull to the back. Soften your knee. Yeah, it's a little over-rotated because you're losing your hips. There. Now stretch your left side ribs. Yeah. There you go. Okay, unwind. Bring your hands to the floor. Take the vinyasa or step back to downward facing dog. Take just one breath. Set up the left side triangle. Step your left foot forward. Take your time with the foundation. Left hand on the ground, 10 toes in the air. Get settled in the 4 corners of both feet and pull your left hip back. Breathe already from your big toe into your heel up to your sitting bone. Those 2 points, pull them apart. Breathe. Hips back, head forward. Breathe. and then start to turn and open. Sometimes we just kind of throw ourselves into the middle of the pose, and then we try to create it from the middle. It's easiest to create a really powerful pose from the beginning. Deep, deep crease to your left hip. Press your big toe down. Let this come back. You could go a little lower there, I think, Jordan. Lower than, yeah, or Devin. There's a good chance of it in this room. One more breath. Come on up to standing. Face the long right side of your mat. Wrap your arms around behind you and interlace your hands. You could also hold a strap, chest open. Take a breath in and lift up high and fold. Spill your bound hands overhead. Maybe take a sigh and let the front of your shoulders soften, the corners of your chest soften as gravity takes the weight of your arms down toward the floor. And then breathe into your ribs. Just watch the action, the rhythm of inhales and exhales, opening up some space along the band of your back bottom ribs. Breathe and let there be some space across the back of your pelvis. One more breath. Come on up, all the way up. Turn to face the front of your mat, standing single leg forward fold. You might even keep the same bound arm position as you lift your chest up high and fold. You're driving your sitting bones back, driving your chest forward, and then working your body down your front thigh, one section at a time. Breathe and be purposeful. Bring some weight in your front leg, Jordan. Shift more. There. A little more weight in your front leg. Yep. Little more weight in your front leg. It's really difficult to feel where your body is in the pose, little softness to your knees, but from the bird's eye view, two sides of the pelvis level. And we want to keep that for twisting triangle. So put your right hand on the ground. Keep your two hips pulling back. Stretch your chest to the front of the room and keep all of that. And then only so much rotation as is needed to stretch your back right rib cage. Breathe into that space. Create new space in your body, in your back right ribs. The default for a lot of us is to swing our left hip to the left. Keep it moving back. Jordan, pull that back. Yes, it's tricky to find your body in space. Little overcorrection, Steph. Right there. One more breath in. One more breath out. Hands to the floor. Downward facing dog. Then come to a high plank and lower it all the way down to your belly on the mat. We'll take locust pose. You can take your arms around behind you and interlace your hands at your low back or hold a strap here. And I'll invite you to turn your toes under like you did for crescent lunge and chaturanga, and then activate your legs like they're being pulled back. Opposite of that, pull your chest forward, the crown of your head forward, and lift up. You got it. This is the foundation for any good back bend. Strong feet, straight heels behind the toes. Thighs wrapped into the front midline so the back of the pelvis can be broad. Keep breathing. From your ankle at the side, all the way up the side to your armpit long. Keep that. Last breath, let your chest open up and come back down. Shake your hips from side to side or bend your knees and move your feet side to side. We'll take floor bow pose. Bend your knees, reach back and hold your ankles from the outside. The invitation is to hold ankles or down on your shins so you can flex your ankles and imagine your feet standing on the ceiling. Knees only hip width distance. Let your arm bones move back and let your legs be strong. Kick up, kick back, and kick up. Now, check out your pelvis. Don't change anything. Just breathe and feel what you feel in your lower back, the back of your pelvis. If that area feels squeezed, like everything's coming from the periphery into it, bring your knees closer together. Yes, a lot of good changes in the poses here. One more breath. Come on down. Wave your feet from side to side. So we tend to think in back bends bigger, but bigger can compress the lower back. Instead, think long. Let's do another one. Bend your knees, reach back, and hold your ankles. Flex your feet. If you're doing one side at a time, switch sides. Start with your knees only hip width distance. Once you get up there and they're all the way out, you'll have avoided stretching the hip flexors. We want to go right over that and stretch it. Knees only hip width distance. Yeah, a little closer, a little closer. We're going to stay right here and breathe 5 more breaths. Just hug right there. 4 more breaths. Soften. 3 more. Just use your inner thighs now. Yep. 2 more. Strong pit of the belly. And come on down. Feet side to side. Hands beside your bottom ribs on the floor. Roll your shoulders back. Inhale, come to upward facing dog. Exhale, move to downward facing dog. We'll take 1 camel pose. Come down to your knees, hip width distance, and turn your toes under. Then hands not in the soft small of your back, down here like they're in back pockets. Knees down, hands down, and broad. You want the back of your pelvis broad. Lift your chest up and look up. This is exactly like the locust pose we did. We just have bent knees now. We're oriented in the room differently. Wide hips in the back. In the front, knees down into the floor. Well, then the whole front of your thighs and your belly and your chest, lift those up. Take yourself to the place in the pose where you feel the most alive and active, and take 1 more breath there. Then come up out of the pose, hands to the floor, downward facing dog, and stretch your body long. Next, you can jump through your hands and sit down and roll onto your back. Bridge pose, bend your knees, put your ankles right underneath of your knees and hip width distance. Then press down with your feet and lift up with your hips. Once you get lifted up, you can rock from side to side and get your shoulders tucked under your body. Then beneath you, interlace your hands and press your arms straight. You'll feel a little more stretch in your chest. You could be holding a strap. It might be helpful to lift all 10 toes in the air and just imagine you're dragging your heels into your shoulders to get your legs on the bottom side, your hamstrings active. Once you feel that fire and everything is in place, let's add something else. Fingertips to the ceiling, flex your wrist, put your hands on the floor, deep under your shoulders and wide. Take a breath in. Exhale, press down, rise up into wheel pose. Now just get up here and see what you see. Check out where your body is today. Observe your lower back, how you're using your hands and your feet. Take 1 more breath, tuck your chin and come on down, knees side to side. So now you know what we're dealing with today. Let's work with it. Set it up again. Hands, feet, ready to go. Press down, rise up, wheel pose. It would help to keep your hands really wide. It's fine if your feet are wide. Try to keep them parallel to the sides of your mat to your best ability. You might tippy toe and walk your hands in closer to your feet. Tuck your chin and come on down. Knees side to side. Let's go for another one. Hands and feet on the floor. Press down, rise up. This is number 3. Press down, rise up. If you're tippy toeing and walking your hands in toward your feet, take a couple of breaths and then press your heels down. Maximum stretch in your quad muscles. Tuck your chin and come on down. Knees side to side. Set up the next one. Press down, rise up, or stay up. Once you get up there, we can get really fixed on the up of the pelvis. Don't worry about that. Soften the up. Let your up come down just 1/4 of an inch and maybe move your heels wider. Tuck your chin and come on down. Knees side to side. Last one. Set it up. Press down, rise up, wheel pose. Maybe bring one knee into your chest, bring it deep into your chest, and then extend your toes to the ceiling. And then you can return that foot to the floor. And then the first thing is knee way into your chest, then toes up and foot to the floor. Tuck your chin and come on down. Knees side to side. Supta Baddha Konasana, soles of your feet together, knees out wide. You can rest maybe a hand on your belly and a hand on your chest, or arms by your side, wherever you're comfortable. even here with so much of your body on the ground is an opportunity to do what we always say in yoga, get grounded. It means to connect with your foundation, and in doing so, let your whole system calm down. Dead bug pose. You can bring your knees into your chest, hold the outer edges of your feet, and rock from side to side. And then take stock of what you're feeling. If what you feel right now in your lower back is just a massive flood of relief, did you squeeze it through all those back bends? We want to work on keeping more space there in the future if that's the case. All right, legs straight up in the air and flex your feet so you can see your toenails. Put your feet right over top of your hips. You'll feel your lower belly engage a little bit for that. Then take a breath in, exhale, blow the air out and curl up and reach for your toes. Stay right in this curled up position and look at your belly. Take another breath in, blow the air out and sink it deep down into the mat. Now keep it there. Now, every time you exhale, you're just going to pulse a little bit higher and try to touch your toenails. Get ready and go for 10. Shouldn't be big action. It's more about the exhale and the deepening of your belly. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hug your knees into your chest. Legs back up in the air. Lower your right leg to hover above the floor, or listen to your lower back. If you're feeling it in your lower back, don't lower it so low. Lift your head and peek at that long leg. Toes point straight up to the ceiling, not rolling out to the side. Can you do that? Then curl up, and with your right hand, reach for your left baby toe. Every time you exhale, you'll just deepen your belly and pulse. It's not a big movement. Go ahead and go for 10, 9, 8, hug right there, Jordan, 7, 6, 5, hug, 4. It'll make it easier. 3, 2, 1, hug your knees. That's a good one, isn't it? Let's do the other side. Other side. There's just nothing like it. Another side, curl up and reach for your opposite baby toe. The key is that foot that's hanging out there. The tendency is going to be to roll it out to the side, and you'll see your quads light up. Roll it inward so your toes are pointing straight up. Now hug the whole time. And go. Go for 10, 9, keep hugging 8, keep hugging 7, keep hugging 6, 5, hug 4, deep belly, 3, 2, nice, 1, hug your knees into your chest. So good, isn't it? Rock head to tail a few times. It's nice to be alive. All the way through to downward facing dog. Our work is to feel through the practice. We come in having already numbed out parts of our experience, and this is a practice to wake it all back up. Right side pigeon pose, right knee forward. Bring your right knee to your right wrist. Maybe make a box with your right knee. Back leg, toes turned under and active. And before you fold, lift the pit of your belly. See if you can get that. And then you can stretch yourself forward over your thigh. Can you bring your knee right in front of your hip rather than out to the side? Yeah, so your shin, that's the accelerator on the pose. The more square it is to the front of the mat, the more intense. Breathe here. And open up to the possibility of being fully alive inside of your skin, experiencing everything there is to experience right now. Your breath, the sensation maybe in your hip, the other people in the room, all the things that are happening around you, you able to just be here very steady in your breath, steady gaze and breathe. Then sit on your right hip, swing your left leg around, stack your shins up for double pigeon. So your right leg stays as the bottom leg, and there are a million variations of this. Ultimately, we're stacking the shins up with flexed ankles, and the ankles hang off the sides. For everybody, your hips go back. Now, not for everybody does this work. Some of you will be sitting more like this, like a number 4 with your legs. Others, that bottom leg will be straight, and you'll just be sitting up tall. If you're making the fire lock, so tall spine, first objective. If you find your knees are hanging in the air, you've got blocks around you, support especially the bottom knee. I like to support under my hanging foot. If you feel like you're able to sit up really tall, then you can fold and press against the 4 corners of your feet. You may notice as you press against the four corners of your feet how your lower back opens. Find the spot that suits your body today on this side. Discover whatever there is to discover and work with that. However your body is right now is exactly the way it's meant to be. It's perfect. Breathe. Just be in the experience that you're having. Can we flex this a little bit? Right there. And if you want to, this hand, if it's not needed for stability, could go here and roll. That's a good one. Come on out of this and take the left side pigeon. At any time, look around the room, not as comparison, but for learning, looking for ideas. How did somebody else take on this shape to customize it to their body? Is that an opportunity that would work well in my body? Try it on. Does it work? Yes, keep it. If it doesn't, don't keep doing that. Do something else. Only you know the best pose for you. You only know that by listening to your body. Are you able to still breathe a steady breath? That's a good clue. If you can't, you feel like you have to hold your breath. That means shift the pose around. Double pigeon. Sit on your left hip, swing your right leg around. And keep your breath flowing. So when we do these hip opening poses, if you feel like you're trying to do these in a pair of really tight jeans, modify the pose for yourself by lifting your hips a little bit higher, bending your knee if you're working with a straight leg in front of you. Check in with your breath. Can you still breathe? Every now and then it could be helpful to just sigh. Let your body sink deeper. Let your skin get softer in the pose. Release your leg, reverse tabletop. Put your hands behind you, flat on the mat. They can be kind of wide, but your fingertips should point forward. Maybe a little to the side, but not way to the side or back. And then press down and rise up. Stretch the fronts of your shoulders, the front of your body. Press down and breathe. Tuck your chin, sit down and roll onto your flat back. Roll your feet overhead for plow pose or lie flat on your back, legs straight up in the air for waterfall. You are welcome to practice any inversion you'd like to, but this is the one called for in this section of the sequence. Rock from side to side, plows, and get really settled into the foundation of your shoulders. Let there be length from your armpits up to your hips. You've worked on that a lot today. Do you want me to hold your leg? Okay. Start to take yourself from the pose you're in to a finishing pose. So if it's shoulder stand, plow and deaf man's pose. If it's headstand, handstand, child's pose. Waterfalls, you're good where you are right now. And then from wherever you are, transition yourself onto your flat back with your knees hugging into your chest. Take a simple twist to either side. That looks like dropping your knees to the left and looking to the right, and then getting the other side as well. If you haven't moved to your second side, take on the second side. Then Supta Baddha Konasana. So on your flat back, soles of your feet together, knees open wide. You can leave your arms wide by the side. Take a moment here and just feel what you feel. Maybe take a breath in and a sigh out. Let your whole body just settle down onto the mat. Allow yourself to be inside your skin. Now, somewhere to your upper right or left, there's a cold eye towel here in the studio. You're welcome to place that over your eyes or under your neck. And then once you get that settled, stretch your two legs long until your body feels comfortable here lying on your back. Lower back feels good. Set up your body. Take a deep breath in and exhale. Sink. Let your breath come easy now. An everyday breath informed by your Ujjayi breath. So now an inhale that flows right into your exhale. No pause anymore. And an exhale that stretches long. Let your skin be soft. Breathe and let yourself just be alive right here, right now, feeling what you feel, experiencing what you're experiencing. Take a deep breath in and exhale through your mouth. Another breath in. This time as you exhale, squeeze your fingers and toes. Mark this space inside your body. Then hug your knees into your chest, roll to your side, and bring yourself up into a sitting position. Set yourself up to be comfortable. Inhale and reach your arms overhead and stretch your whole body up tall. Then exhale and bring your hands into prayer position and pause for just a second. From this space, set an intention for the rest of your day. And then 3 more times we'll chant Om together. Take a deep breath in. Bring your thumb knuckles to the center of your forehead. Take a deep breath in and exhale through your mouth. Namaste. Good work. Thank you all for joining in our practice today. Thank you for those of you who are new with us, visiting from afar, those of you who are here every week. It's been a blessing to have each one of you. I hope to see you again soon. And if this is a holiday weekend for you, have a happy holiday. Otherwise, have a great weekend. Thank you.